When you look at mindset, that's such a big piece of everything that we do as realtors in this business. And when you think about networking, and what I hear from these ladies too is intention. And that was something that I needed to make sure when I was coming out for networking events and just having conversations. I had to be really intentional with who I'm meeting. What do I need in business? What do they need in business? And how can we help each other?
When I read this question, I had to really think, but my biggest mindset shift that I have made so far in the past 4 years being in the industry is, instead of going into events thinking, how can I network myself, I always think, how can I benefit others from what I'm doing, and how can I help them succeed in their business as well? And it always comes around, and those connections always end up benefiting me in the end, whether personal or professional. So that was the biggest mindset shift that I have made.
Once I stopped approaching networking and to back up, I've been in the business 4 years as well. Just like stopped approaching it like as a business strategy and started, seeing it as a heart-centered opportunity to build genuine relationships. Everything changed. I began to attract aligned people and opportunities just by being my authentic, curious, open self. I think the energy you bring into a room, it matters. And when you lead with warmth and generosity, people remember how you made them feel. And networking is it's 100% about making connections. And that is not just done like at a quote unquote networking event. Every single place I go is an opportunity to network, whether that's coffee shop, library, the grocery store, the farmer's market, really everywhere. I'm always seeking to connect with people and, learn about their story. And it's not about, kind of like what you said, not about what can these people do for me. It's how can I help and serve and make a difference in someone's life. So that's, for me, really important. My goal is to always make a lasting impression. I try to spread love, joy, kindness with everyone and share compliments and just make someone smile. So
Well done. Very nice. And for me, when you look at mindset, that's such a big piece of everything that we do as realtors in this business. And when you think about networking, and what I hear from these ladies too is intention. And that was something that I needed to make sure when I was coming out for networking events and just having conversations. I had to be really intentional with who I'm meeting. What do I need in business? What do they need in business? And how can we help each other? We've got a lot of great vendors out here as well that, hey, maybe there's great loan programs out there. Maybe it's a home warranty offering, some incentive for us to help them. So, and again, that benefits our clients. So always come with intention when you're networking, and what that looks like, that's up to you. And that's maybe something we could always dive deeper into as well.
When I hear competitive and when we talk about competition, from a crunching numbers standpoint, they're your competition. But when you put your networking hat on, they're truly your colleagues. And you are navigating this market together, whether you're doing the same exact thing or a little bit different. And so for me, the best way to navigate that is to listen to each other, talk to each other, confide in each other. You might learn something really great that you can start implementing, and vice versa. And I work for a builder, so I know we're not the builder for everybody. So if I have somebody come up to me, I love you, Adriana, but I can't work with your builder because my clients want a napkin drawing house built, then I can't help them. So, because we don't do that. We don't do the customizations that they want. And we know that. So having those relationships is huge. So navigating this market with your competition, just know that when you are networking in this space, when you're crunching numbers, yes, they're your competition. But when you are networking, treat them like colleagues.
I approach, networking like I do friendships, with sincerity, gratitude. follow through. I don't go into a room thinking, kind of like you said before, who can help me? I try to go in and think, whose story can I learn today? I make it a point, I try to listen deeply. I think listening is so important. And remember small details about people and follow up with kindness. So whether that's, I really enjoy doing like personalized cards, so a digital card or a physical card, so the picture that we took, a thoughtful introduction to someone if they need that, or simply just checking in on them regularly. And intention for me also looks like being clear about my values and energy, attracting people who align with how I love to work, which is relationally and not transactionally. Again, I've said this before, but smile and greet people warmly. That's something I like to do, and it's easy and free, and it makes such a difference in someone's day. Shake hands or hug them if they're huggers. I prefer the hug. Whichever is appropriate for the person. Say their name. I don't know their name. And then giving genuine compliments. It can be about someone's hair, their nails, their shoes, anything that stands out to you, makes that person unique. These little things just make a difference, and I think can boost someone's self-esteem, their self-confidence, just leave an impression on them. So.
I can't help but agree with both of these guys again. I mean, it is, but this is why we want to share these tips with you guys and gals. Real estate is transactional, right? And relationships are transformational. So that's why we want to come out and build that. How do we connect with each other? When you come to a networking event like this, when you're coming out here, do you have a pocket full of business cards that you're looking to meet and connect with? And like Darcy was saying too, the genuine connection is absolutely vital, because we may not connect with everybody, and that's okay. But when you have that genuine, you're building a friendship and you're just having fun with it. And I love that out of everything.
I like to ask if somebody has a unique name, we just all our names unique, but I like to ask, where did you get your name from? Where are you from? What's your background? Tell me about your kids. I mean, not all in the first 5 minutes, but
It depends how much coffee you have. Yeah.
But just going deeper than surface level. I think that's so important. What do you like to do outside of work? What lights you up? That's one of my favorite questions, actually. It just creates a space for real conversation, and rather than like small talk. And helps me remember people. Like, you might get a business card. I don't know about you all, but I have a lot of business cards that I am not great at organizing them. And so sometimes they end up in, like, I don't know, under my car or something. Or so if I don't put it in my phone right away, it's kind of gone. But I like to make that initial connection with someone and maybe set up a time, like, let's get together, so we can get to know each other either that or coffee or.
The thing that I like to ask is what brought people to the industry. Real estate, you get people that have, most of the time, they didn't start in real estate. So it's really, really cool to see people's pathways to the industry, see what brought them here, who brought them here. Maybe you make connections through that. So that's a question I ask pretty much all the time.
I also like to put in my phone, like a note, like something about that person helps remember, like that connection with.
Oh yeah,
That's
the
smart.
contact, the description. I use that religiously.
Introverts generally win when it's more of a one-on-one situation, but you've got to find yourself, if you're an introvert in real estate, you've got to push through that mold. And you've got to get out there and say, all right, hey, I need to go have a conversation with him or her, whether it's a buyer, a seller, whatever. If you're getting those butterflies in your stomach, go do it and go have that conversation and push yourself. Why? Because the results are going to come. And that's where you need to break out from the mold, especially in a market like right now, that, hey, we've got to do things a little differently. We've got to think outside the box and try something a little different. If you're doing the same thing and getting the same results, what's going to happen?
Isn't that?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, insanity. Yeah, put you on the spot, see? But that's it, you guys. So if you're introverted, definitely come to these events still. Push yourself to be just a little extrovert, just a little bit, just to say hi. And again, if you don't know, like, hey, I'm just really nervous to go out there and I don't even want to meet anybody, team up with somebody. Maybe somebody that has that high I personality to come out here and introduce you to people. Now you're making that way. Now you could have an in. And then you could isolate that more to a one-on-one conversation and be able to develop that a little bit better.
If you're the most introverted person in a room, look for the second most introverted person. You're not the only one. And also, being a good listener is a superpower in this industry. And a lot of introverts that I know are the best listeners. Make it a point to make a connection with one new person every time, and that adds up exponentially. And then all of a sudden, you'll not only have all these connections, but like really, really good quality connections. So being an introvert is totally, totally okay, and you will absolutely succeed.
My friend Polly comes to masterclass. She's not in real estate. She's with sit-down cards, a card business, but she's very introverted, and she's like, Darcy, will you be my rain person? And I absolutely will. I'll do that for any one of you. But there's a lot of extroverts in here too. So, and it is helpful to have someone who gives you a little boost, and you're not so nervous when you have that person to introduce you. Yeah. I always say I'm not salesy. We are in a sales business, right? Each of every one of us. But I might, I try, like, again, I talked about friendship. I try to treat it like a friendship. I just follow up and send a quick text, or maybe, like, I love to take pictures, and so maybe send a photo that we took together, or we actually step in and make it into a special digital card or something, and send that. If I know their birthday, which I do love to find out people's birthdays, and not like weird or stalkish or anything like that. I just
Yes, you are.
Okay. I'm happy to look up your sign and see if maybe you're doing online. Anyway, that's an aside. But I think I love birthdays. I love celebrating people. So finding out that little tidbit. Maybe send a video text. I've gotten into this lately. It's kind of fun to send video text, but make sure if you're in your car and you're charging your phone, it will not record the audio. I sent fun messages, and they're like, Darcy was making faces and audio.
Yep.
So I learned that lesson.
That's a huge lesson.
But anyway, send them, I love podcasts. So if I find out they might like to listen to podcasts, send them one. A big Mel Robbins fan. So maybe I'll send them one that resonates or something like that. Listening, I think we already touched on that, but it's so important to listen. It's just the little things that people that make them feel seen and remembered. And when it comes from a place of genuine care, I don't think it ever feels pushy.
I don't follow up to sell, I follow up to support. And things like that are going to matter most, because we talk about being genuine, right? When we're meeting relationships in the first place. And so that's where that genuosity, excuse me, I can't say it, needs to really branch out, and so it is, right? Yeah, I haven't had enough coffee. When I look at systems of what I'm using, I look at social media. I think it's huge. Can we follow each other on Instagram or Facebook or whatever your platform is? I use a CRM. Everybody goes in a CRM because it helps me take notes, and I can't remember everything. And whether they have kids or whether they have a dog or, whatever pet or whatever their spouse is, I need to refresh my memory. That's me knowing me, so that's such a big thing. And then for other follow-up, I'm a big positive quotes guy. I'll send them out. I'll send those positive quote texts out, because who doesn't need a positive push every now and then, right? And that's why I love them. And plus it motivates me. I'm reading a whole bunch, and then I'm just getting extra positive and getting a whole bunch of great energy. And then we've mentioned it numerous times, genuine check-ins. Hey, Darcy, what's happened? Hey, Adriana, what's going on in your world? What's happening with business? Just having those genuine check-ins are going to help build that relationship even further.
For me specifically, I think the lightest way to stay in touch with somebody, but very impactful still, is social media. As soon as I leave a place, after I met somebody, after I collect a business card or collect information, I follow them on social media. It's the easiest way to stay front-facing to them without being pushy. And on top of that, if I think of somebody, I text them and I say, hey, I was just thinking of you. that doesn't sound pushy to me. So I just little light things like that, ways to stay happy and see people. For me, I'm where I am now, all because of networking. I'm in the industry because of networking. So everywhere that I've been is because of networking. I was able to partner with a bunch of different people that I met at all the division meetings, and we would host things at our models, continuing ed, things of value that we could bring to the industry, and we were working together to partner and create those relationships together. I think that's so important because so many of us can partner with other fantastic. I mean, all of the people that are attending these MIBOR meetings know that networking is important, and they know that building those relationships is important. So, I mean, it's a powerhouse when you partner up with these people. So, yeah, there's so many different things that I've been able to do through that.
My life partner through real estate. Did not see it coming. Her name is Peg. Someone you know.
Woo, Peg.
Anyway, it was crazy. I went to a women's networking group and I'd been a part of for about a year. And I met this woman there, I met this other woman who told me about her. So, she's, looking to move from Fort Wayne to Indy. Her job that was potentially temporary had become permanent. And so I reached out and, she didn't respond right away. And she had a whole lot of stuff going on. Her house in Fort Wayne had a fire as it was under contract, so it was a whole mess. Anyway, she eventually reached back out to me and told me what happened. And we met and I showed her a couple houses. She didn't like either of them. And then she went back to Fort Wayne. And the next day, this was in 22, so things were really hot in our market. I heard about a house coming on the market and she wasn't going to be available to in-person see it. So I said, I'll just go see it and tour it and we can FaceTime, So we did that and she fell in love with the house. And then, I don't know, when I met her, she had a ring on, I thought it was, you don't know, when you meet people, right, for the first time. And I was married to Leah, I had, 2 boys with him, I dated, sorry, I'm getting personal. So anyway, I had not dated. This was a new character for me. But there were sparks and there was something going on. And so I told her after we started this whole thing, I was like, I don't make a habit of taking my flights, I promise. This is not. But anyway, it all happened because of networking. And, we've been together 3 years. We built a house together. She has 1 son and I have my boys. And we're just, she is truly my biggest fan. It's just, you never know what might happen when you go out there. But I do want to share, you mentioned quotes, and this is our last one, right? So I just want to share. I love quotes too. I usually send them to people. If I send them a card, I like to put a quote in there. There's 2 I want to share with you that I think are appropriate for what we're talking about today. Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. And then one of my favorites, she's an amazing human who is no longer with us, but Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And real quick, if you guys are readers, there's a book, you may have heard of it, it's an old school book from the 50s, Les Giblin, How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People. I highly recommend. And there's a little smaller version if you'd like for Cliff Notes. Skill with People. So these are 2 great books that can help me. I'm an extrovert, but I'm a little nervous here. But anyway, thank you for this opportunity. And you guys are awesome.
I don't need 2 mics. Yeah. I'm loud enough. Thank you. So awesome, Darcy. You raised the bar on that one. This was a hard one to follow here. So, looking at competitor, I haven't said that word in many years, or key referral partners, whatnot. I look at the events that I've hosted, and I look back at some of these because some of you guys and gals have been on the panels that I've done or the events that I've hosted. And that's been a huge piece for networking. I know Lynn Wheeler's in the back there, and you know, she's been part of one of my awesome events. And we also had Tamika Whitaker out there. We had Susan McLean. Yeah, I mean, it was a packed house. Why? Because we had these amazing, the event was called Influential Women of Real Estate. And we had these amazing women talking about their stories and just being awesome. And it was so great to have everybody come in and visit and network. And I didn't even feel like it was a networking time. I'm getting goosebumps, I can feel them. Because we were over in Chatham Hills, yep. And so it was just friendly, you know? And then it was cool too, because we got to partner with great people that were vendors and lenders that helped sponsor it. And so they were also helping their business too, and meeting new agents that maybe wasn't on their radar. So that's when it really started opening for me about how networking was so impactful. And then to host events was a whole new realm of it all, to do networking on a different level. And for me, I'm forever grateful for those who have been on my at my events, whether in person or as a host, and those that are coming up as well. I'm super grateful for all of you. And it's amazing to build these networks and these connections. So thank you.
Jason's events are amazing. If you haven't been, you have to go. They're so much fun. He is a master at bringing people together and lifting others up. And he truly, genuinely, means it. He's got one of the biggest hearts of anyone I've ever met. So I love you.
I want to say before we go too is I know that everybody is so busy in this industry, and it can be hard to remember to follow up with these people. Time blocking is your friend, or I mean, it's definitely my friend. I put everything on my calendar, whether it's us following up, I'm sending texts to the people that I met that week. I put everything on my calendar, and if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't get done. It's not silly to do that, and I definitely recommend time blocking that networking time.
Think of this too as networking. We put in the work, you guys. Everything we do in this real estate business industry, we got to put in the work. I actually built a resource, kind of a system, and it's called Networking Like a Champion. It tracks everything. It's got your ROI on your networking event, how to follow up. It's got systems. It's got everything plugged in. If you're interested in learning more about that or just need it, meet with me afterwards, or you could also DM me on Instagram. Just Ask Justak is my handle. But yes, get in touch with me. Happy to share that with you too, so you could level up your networking events. Thank you.